guys, so I'm here today to talk to you about the Feminist Orchestra book club if you haven't heard me talk about it before. In this video I will just briefly update you on what's going on with the book club, what our new reading list is, because I have now picked and set the books for the final 4 months of the year so that we have a complete reading list until January of 2017. And I'm also going to do a little giveaway at the end of this video. But let's start off with what is the Feminist Orchestra book club, in case you don't know. It is a book club and it's a feminist book club. I mean I guess that's pretty explanatory from the title, so sorry that seemed kind of obvious, but I started this book club at the beginning of this year. I'll link the original announcement videos and original reading list video down in the description box down below because I want to be kind of brief here. I just wanted to create a safe space where we could talk about books and the feminist themes in these books and learn a little bit more about feminism in general and try and expand our feminism to be really intersectional and all of that good stuff. And so far it's been going really well. I've been loving watching everybody's book reviews and reading their blog posts, because that's the thing, I just very much want to make this as easy to join in on as possible. So if there's a month you want to read the book in, you don't have to read the books every month, but if there's a month you want to read that book in, then there are so many ways you can get involved. We now have a Twitter at Fem Orchestra where you can chat to me via that Twitter if you use the hashtag Feminist Orchestra. There are other people out there wanting to chat about the books that you can interact with. There's a Goodreads group, so you can join in the discussion on individual books and also vote on potential future books to read. And I myself have been filming a video every month reviewing the book and discussing the book we read that month, and so have loads of other people either in wrap-ups or in dedicated reviews on YouTube and on their blogs, which has just been fantastic to see. And it's just been making me so happy, and it's just really lovely to be doing this with you guys. When you're reading books that are dealing with serious topics and books that you're hoping will expand your world and help you find ways to improve the world, I feel like it's such an important element to be able to talk about those books with other people. So I've been really enjoying that. If you do ever film a video talking about books from the book club after the month or during the month, or write a blog post, even if you didn't like the book, like I've picked a lot of these books not having read them, so a lot of them could have elements that aren't that great, you know, I will share them on the Twitter. So just tweet them at the Twitter and I'll retweet them so everyone can see them, and also use like the hashtag Feminist Orchestra, and there's a specific thread on the Goodreads groups to share all your blog posts and reviews on. Negative reviews I will share, offensive, intolerant and bigoted videos I will not share, obviously, that should be a given. But yes, I would encourage you all to join in when you can. And on that note, let's talk about the books. So I originally set a 6-month reading list, and I want to make sure I keep the reading list set quite a few months ahead so that people have time to buy, source, order in their library, put down their names for in their library, whatever means they need to get the book, that they have plenty of time to do that. The original reading list covered March, April, May, June, July and August, and we now have books chosen for September, October, November and December as well. So of course we still have from the original reading list, July and August to go. In July, it's the only month so far that we'll be reading 2 books. You don't have to read both books, you can just read one if you prefer, or read both. And those are Take It As a Compliment, which is a graphic novel that deals with sexual harassment and sexual assault. And because this is a graphic novel and a lot shorter to get through, the other book that we are reading in July, if you'd like to, is Feminine Gospels by Caroline Duffy, which is a feminist poetry collection. So another quite short one, and that's why I kind of combined those two in that month. And it's also interesting to kind of delve into different formats in the same month. So those are what we're reading in July. In August, we are reading The Woman Warrior by Maxine Hong Kingston. From what I gather, these are sort of stories and essays about Maxine Hong Kingston's experience being a Chinese American woman and learning about the history of women in China. I'm so excited to get to this one in August. But if you've already been following the Feminist Orchestra book club, you probably know those are what we're reading in July and August. So dun dun dun, here are the 4 books we will be reading for the rest of the year. I ran a poll on the Goodreads group, and there is also a long list of over 2 pages now of books people have suggested and recommended just for general feminist interest for people to check out. That is linked in the Goodreads group, but I have been paying attention to that and what's been getting voted up and what people are interested in. So based on that list and based on the poll and my desire to make sure we are reading diversely, I have set the next 4 books. So the book that got the most significant number of votes on the poll, I think would be fair to set as September's read, and that is I Am Malala, the girl who stood up for education and was shot by the Taliban. I'm sure a lot of you have probably heard of this book. It's Malala's own story of her experience of trying to stand up for women's education and education in Afghanistan, the violence she met with at the hands of the Taliban in Afghanistan, and where she's gone on from that. I haven't read it. I hear it's incredibly powerful, and yeah, I am just really looking forward to reading that with all of you. October, we will be reading Everyday Sexism by Laura Bates. Now, you probably know I have already read this because I go on about it all the time, but I will be rereading it in the month because it was such an amazing book. I give it 5 out of 5 stars, so I'm really looking forward to rereading it. And from the poll and the list, it seems loads of you guys want to read it as well, so I'm really excited to read it with other people this time and get into a discussion and film an entire video about it. And this book was written by the founder of the Everyday Sexism Project, Laura Bates, where women and sometimes men send in their testimonials of everyday sexism, which ranges from catcalling in the street to reoccurring sexual abuse and all across the board there. And she collected together these testimonies and statistics and facts about sexism, mainly in Britain, and analysed all of that together and created an incredibly powerful, moving, disturbing but invigorating book. So I am so excited to read that with you guys. And then that brings us to November, is the next month, and the idea is that you do have the whole month to get to the book as slowly or as quickly as works for you, and the discussion about that book never needs to end at the end of that month. The Goodreads threads are always open. Back to November, we will be reading Redefining Realness by Janet Mock, and Janet Mock is a very influential trans woman and trans rights activist, and this is her memoir and autobiography about her experience and all of the amazing stuff she's done, and it sounds amazing. Again, another one I haven't read most of the books, but I'm so excited to get to this one, and I hope everyone else is as excited as I am to read it. So yes, that is November's book, and lastly that brings us to December, the last month of the year. We'll be reading Girls Will Be Girls, Dressing Up, Playing Parts and Daring to Act Differently by Emir O'Toole. I'm particularly excited about this one after hearing Lauren from Reads and Daydreams talk about it recently. She absolutely adored it, and this is all about gender and gender conceptions in the modern society, gender as a construct, the pressure we place on young people through these gender constructs and defining the way that they should act, boxing people up into what girls and boys are and do and dress and all of that stuff, and it's all about that, and I'm so excited to read it. I'm so excited for all of these, as you can tell, so I do hope they all live up to my expectations. But that is the updated reading list. I hope you're as excited for reading all of these books as I am, and I hope we can keep the momentum going, discussing all of this awesome feminist literature together. I think it's been a really positive experience so far. But that brings me on to the last part of this video, which is a giveaway. If you've been with us since the beginning, then you'll know in the first month of the book club we read I Call Myself a Feminist, the view from 25 women under 30, with many editors who I won't list right now. This is published by Virago, and I have 2 copies here to give away to you guys. This giveaway will be open internationally, so any of you may enter. Just mention somewhere in your comment that you're interested in receiving one of these videos. Don't just like leave "enter me" and I will include you in the giveaway entrance. This book is a collection of short form essays / testimonies from different women explaining why they call themselves a feminist. This one's a hard one to pinpoint, and I know some people adored it, other people just found it meh when we were reading it. I mean, you'll have to judge for yourself if you've not read it so far. It's not necessarily an introduction to feminism, and nor is it an in-depth analytical study of feminist issues. It is more of a uplifting, reassuring collection of women's voices from different backgrounds coming together to tell you why they call themselves a feminist, and that was what I really enjoyed about it, especially when I was dealing with a lot of hate on the internet from commenters and people on Twitter for calling myself a feminist, and even just in real life growing up as a child and a teenager and an adult who knew they were a feminist because they'd been brought up in a household that embraced feminism, having friends and people at school and at university who rejected feminism and made me feel kind of alone in many moments, although now I'm surrounded by wonderful feminists. It was definitely something I struggled with when I was younger. It was so nice just hearing the voices of other women explain why they call themselves a feminist. I don't think the book's perfect, by all means. It's basically just a collection of blog posts, but it was, for me, it was a very positive reading experience, and I just found it very reassuring reading these women kind of stand up alongside me, it felt. And it also reminded me of something, not that this was being necessarily shoved in my face by the book specifically, but in my reading of the book and in my kind of putting together the different voices, it reminded me of something, which is that, do you know what, calling yourself a feminist isn't just saying you believe in gender equality or the equality of everybody. It's more than that. It's saying, I recognise that there is inequality and I want to actively fight that. In whatever way you can. People's lives are very different and everybody's activism takes different shapes and forms, but I think that is something that I really felt when I read this book and has stuck with me throughout the reading in this book club, is that although feminism means equality, calling yourself a feminist is saying, I do not agree with the injustice in this world and I want to shout out against it. So that is the note I'm going to leave you on for this video, and that's one of the reasons I'm loving reading all of these books with you and discussing them, the good, the bad and the ugly, and I hope you are having as good a time as I am. So until next time guys, happy reading and I'll see you all again soon. Bye!